Hello everyone, Brick Scavenger back with another quick tutorial video. I put out a video earlier on how to put on a Lego cape, and since then I've realized there's a lot more Lego capes out there, and cloth pieces, commas, all those things, than just a standard cape. So if this is going to be helpful to you, feel free to stick around. There's lots of different capes out there. It is important to put your capes on correctly to keep your capes in good condition. If you have any hopes someday of reselling any of your figures, you're going to want to keep your capes in good condition because it is a very important feature to a collector. And I have seen on many occasions where a collector wanted a certain fig but wasn't happy with the cape condition and then wouldn't buy the fig. So hopefully this is going to be helpful to you guys. We're going to start with your standard cape. This is the video that I've made before. We'll grab my dummy here. And so simple here. First of all, the whole punchline of my first video was that these two holes, they're not arm holes. They are both neck holes, okay? So very simple for these standard capes. You're going to put one hole over the neck, kind of fold it over a little bit, and then put the other one in place. Very, very simple to correctly put on a Lego cape. There it is. So that is your standard Lego cape, okay? Now that holds true for pauldrons and collars and things like that, okay? What we have here, you might encounter sometimes where there are collars instead of capes. This is the same idea. You could put this on as a teeny tiny cape if you really wanted to, just like we just talked about. But really these are designed more to be collars where they're going to actually go around the head and be pointed up. So what I would recommend is you actually put them on this way. Here, that's basically the same start as a standard cape, but instead of pulling down on the back of the cape and flapping over, what we're going to do is we're going to just pull up on it. I know it's simple, but hopefully this is helpful for somebody. Keep it pointed up, get that second hole, get the second hole over the neck, and now you can see, I'm trying to hold it down with my finger, pointed up. All right, and so when you push the head in place now, it's much more of a collar than it is a cape, okay? Similar for any potential commas for Star Wars or other that you might want to use. You might see these in superhero potentially, maybe some other things. These commas, they go on the same exact way as capes do. One fold over and the other, but instead of being behind, they just kind of usually go over a shoulder, something like that. I've seen them go over both shoulders, depending on the fig. But that's the idea. So those are the basics, the absolute basics, okay? Let's talk about some things that are a little bit more complicated. Sometimes you're going to encounter a cape that looks like this right here. Now, this one may feel a little overwhelming. This is a cape that goes to one of the newer Lando Calrissian figures. So these can feel a little overwhelming because it's both a collar and a cape in one piece. Here's what I would recommend on this, okay? I would recommend that you fold this over like this and match up the holes, okay? I wouldn't crease it completely, but just fold them over together, okay? Now I'm going to put, see if I can show this better. I'm going to put both of these holes that line up through the neck tube. Okay, now here's where it's just slightly tricky, I guess. This is a cape, so it needs to point down. This is a collar, so it needs to point up. All right, but keep these two holes over here lined up. Fold them both over at the same time and put them into the neck tube. Making sure that the cape is pointed down and the collar, having a hard time focusing, pointed up, okay? So you can see now that we've got the cape down and the collar up, all right? Same goes, the same exact concept, but this is a vampire cape here. Okay, you can see that this one's used, but it's the same concept. I'm gonna fold this down so that this hole lines up with this hole, and over here on this side, this hole lines up with this hole, up and down. Okay, they line up. I'm going to now take these two holes, which are lined up, put them through the neck tube, okay? Make sure that the cape is down and the collar is actually pointed up. It's very hard to do. Hold it down and show you at the same time. Now take these two holes which are lined up, fold them over and put them up like this. Okay, now again, I've got my collar pointed up and cape pointed down. Hopefully that one's helpful to you as well. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about commas, skirt pieces, things like that. You're going to see these very commonly on Simpsons figures, Star Wars troopers, things like that. The easier ones to do, I think, are actually these commas where they have 4 holes, but 2 holes right next to each other in the middle, and then 2 on the outside. All right, and now depending on how you want your comma to line up, generally speaking, this is going to go over the legs now. All right, what I would recommend is you take these 2 holes right here, put the comma behind it, and put those 2 holes through the 2 leg tubes. Okay, so now you're kind of right about here. Now you just simply wrap this one around and then around again so it comes all the way to the front and then up and over. All right, this is not going to go to the side and go over. It's going to wrap. It's going to get a little bit tight. Keep it tight the best you can with your fingers. Around and over. There we go. There. And now this guy is going to, again, fold to the side and then fold to the front and over. Okay? Now this is sort of the way commas are meant to be put on for Star Wars figs. You'll notice that this leaves the front of the legs exposed. Probably not very ladylike for anybody wearing a skirt. Your Simpsons female characters, other things, hula girls, stuff like that. So we're going to have to put this on a little bit differently for the female characters than you would for the Star Wars troopers. Let's talk about those. All right, so there's the comma. I think I actually need this comma for an ARC trooper. Maybe we'll use that later today. All right, so let's talk about these. This is one of the Simpsons commas from either Patty or Selma. I can't remember which one. But no matter what you do here, you're going to end up with like a slit, like a woman's dress that has a slit going up the leg. We don't want the slit to be going straight up the middle in the front, nor do we want it to go straight up the middle in the back, okay? Again, not very ladylike. So we are going to try to get the slit on the side, all right? Now, depending on where you want the slit to be, you can kind of start this wherever you want, but just don't start it like this, because then you're going to have the slit in the wrong spot, okay? I am going to just go over the side like this right here. All right, so I went over the side first. I'm going to wrap it tight around the front and over the leg. And then I'm going to keep it tight, spinning, and then over the leg again. All right, I'll show that again with a different one, but you can lock it in with the torso. And now you'll notice that the slit is here, right? Not much you can do about the slit because it's going to be there somewhere. All right, let's see what this looks like now if I start it in a different place. Okay, we started it like this that time. Let's start it over the front like this time. Tightly wrapped, over, tightly wrapped. Whoops, we lost it. Tightly wrapped, over, tightly wrapped, over. All right. And now the tricky part is to keep that kind of all in place with one finger while you wrap it there. And again, we have the slit. There's not much you can do about it. It's just kind of the way the skirt was designed. But that is the way that you put these skirts on. All right, let's talk one more example of that hula skirt this time. Here's your hula skirt. Taking a look at this, this one actually has a very similar feel to the Star Wars comma that we talked about earlier because we've got 2 holes that are lined up together, but in this case, we've got 2 holes twice. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of those 2 holes. We're going to start in the front. We've got the skirt kind of angled from top right to bottom left. Okay, so those 2 are on. We're going to keep those down. We're going to pull it tight here. We're going to pull it tight here. Okay, and now these holes line up pretty well with the legs in the back. And so I can then pop it open, pop the torso on, and it looks like that. Kind of did that one fast. Let's do that one more time real quick, just in case that was a little overwhelming. Okay, 2 holes, go over the front, legs like that, okay? And then we're just going to pull it taut on the side, wrap it to the back, and now you can see that those holes line up pretty well, and just flop those over the leg again. And then we're going to lock it in place with the torso. Okay, so there's the hula skirt. Hopefully some of these gave you the general idea on how to put on these skirts and capes. As we were making this video, I realized that there is one more I want to show you that is still pretty simple, but might look a little crazy to you. And that is a cape that actually has 3 neck holes, not 2. All right, this cape came from the Series 13 King, for example. In this case, my recommendation is to start with this middle hole here and just go directly over the neck tube with that one, like this. Okay, and then we just proceed as normal. You can start on either side. We can put it over and then fold over and put the last one on. Okay, hold that down with your finger, and away we go. Okay, capes, Lego capes, keep them in good condition, guys. The less frayed, the less stained, the less wrinkled they are, the better they're going to be for resale value, the nicer they're going to look in your own personal collection. Starts with putting them on correctly and then keeping them nice through their duration. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time on the Brick Scavenger channel.